With the country's high COVID-19 infection rate, health conditions in prisons are under the spotlight. More than 70 inmates have already died of COVID-19 related complications. Overcrowding in prisons, a challenge for social distancing. SASAPU demands parole for inmates who are serving a life sentence and are chronically ill over the age of 60, and for female inmates with babies in prison. They also demand bail for trial-awaiting inmates.
As a result of the overcrowding, these inmates are prone to get infected by the coronavirus. So most of them are due for release.
Correctional Services, however, reiterated that parole is not a right.
Parole is a privilege, and it is conditional depending on your behavior in the facility and whether you have undergone rehabilitation programs. One of the people that he wants to be released are what we call lifers. And maybe we should spell out what lifers are. These are people who have committed murder, rape, very serious crimes in our communities. And ideally, you don't want such people being let out willy-nilly without a very due process.
Although several inmates have been released on the COVID special parole dispensation, the impact of the pandemic has delayed more parole releases.
The COVID-19 special parole dispensation was for individuals that firstly have been identified as low risk. And some of these people that sit on our parole boards are members of the community, so they too have been affected by COVID.
This group alleged that they were being sent to be quarantined. While SASAPU is concerned about rapid COVID-19 infections in prison, the department is adamant that there's no COVID-19 crisis in South Africa's prisons.
We actually have been able to contain the pandemic quite well in these facilities. The recovery rate of offenders sits at about 74%, which is significantly high. And we must recall that the population in total of correctional facilities is approximately 161,000. So if you look at these numbers, it tells you that there's something right that we are doing in our correctional facilities to contain this pandemic. And then over and above that, if you look at the number of deaths, when these are regrettable, we only have approximately 73.
But SASAPU believes this is not a true reflection of the extent of COVID-19 in prisons countrywide.
We're sitting with a huge problem, and every day these people are dying. It's a grave humiliation and to the human rights of the inmates.
Is the department concealing some information, or is SASAPU perhaps just being opportunistic? What is the real story behind these bars?
SASAPU has threatened with legal action if the Justice Ministry doesn't deal with the overcrowding in prisons through the release of those who are eligible for parole. Patricia Fasachi, SABC News in Pretoria.